Swinging a high drive into center field. It's at the wall. It is gone. Casas does it again. It's gone. It's into the bullpen. This game is tied.
And he swings and rips one to center field. It's high. It's deep. It's back. It's gone. Sale winds. He fires. Swing and a miss. Strike three. It's over. The Red Sox have won the World Championship.
Welcome back to Play Tessie. It is episode 243. This is the official Red Sox podcast of WEEI. Before we get going, hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. Rate 5 stars. Apple, Spotify, you know the deal. Find us on YouTube. Subscribe to WEEI. Hit the thumbs up on our videos. And find us on the socials at Play Tessie on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Here with Sammy. Here with Pat. It's Gordo. Sorry if I sound a little bit weird. My mic producing some weird buzzing, so I'm just going with the laptop mic. But I'm proud of the Red Sox. They just took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. Proud of the group. They came into the series following one of the wins of the year against the Phillies. That big game with the big Narvaez homer, the big Romy grand slam, one of the wins of the season. And then they kind of fell flat on their face in the first game of the series. And then they watched their ace give up bombs to Shohei and Teoscar in the first inning of game 2. And obviously frustration was creeping in. But you have to give them all the credit in the world because these games at this time of year before the deadline can feel so meaningful. And everyone's been talking about this 9-game gauntlet. But they found a way to get back into that second game and win the game. They kind of rode Anthony, Bregman, Duran offensively to 2 back-to-back wins here to finish off the series. The bullpen didn't allow a single run, 7 1/3 innings. Even if in game 3 it wasn't necessarily pretty. What do they have, like 9 walks as a group? And so what was that, 5 from Buehler and 4 from the bullpen? It wasn't pretty, but they got the job done. Back-to-back wins. You take a series from the defending champs. Mookie Betts is on your home turf. The icon of the sport is on the other side. You take a series against the Dodgers to prove to your organization, to anyone in the front office that may be like just even thinking about, what could we get for Aroldis or whatever. Prove to the fan base that this team deserves additions, not just additions, but real additions. And you have to feel good about it entering the it is deadline season. It's been deadline season, but the closer you get to the deadline, the more these games matter. The vibe of the team matters. The trend of the team matters. Everything matters. And even though this group, this management team has been motivated to add, to me, these games are always so important. You don't want that doubt because it's not even just about what they're adding it's not about that they're adding. You want them to know that you are capable of winning important games against good teams, and that this team, if you invest in them, isn't going to let you down, fall flat on your face, miss the playoffs, or if you get to the playoffs, fall flat on your face there. Like, this team showed against the Dodgers that they're capable of taking 2 out of 3 from a really good team. And they've shown that before, but showing it this close to the deadline, to me, even more important.
Right, and the big fear heading into this gauntlet, as we've called it, of the schedule with the Cubs, Phillies, Dodgers, was that they would get sort of embarrassed or really beaten down badly like they have in years past. And I know it's not impressive at all to win 1 out of 3 in Chicago or 1 out of 3 in Philadelphia, but it's enough to keep them afloat that they come back to Fenway and they win the series against the defending champs. It's hard not to feel good, even though the Red Sox are 4-5 out of the break. I don't like to do the coping fan thing where things aren't going well and I'm spinning it positively, but this doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like they tread water for a little bit. And then today on Sunday, as we record, they won a big series. That felt like a big series win. And I know standings wise, it's just 1 game, but vibe wise, this time of year, games are bigger just because you're so up against the deadline. And for a team like the Red Sox, every win is important. So again, Buehler today, very bad, but the bullpen stepped up. The bullpen hasn't really had to have a lot of long games for a while now, here and there. But that was a good bullpen performance. Everyone pitched well out of the bullpen, other than Chapman. But he had some back tightness and was allegedly puking, according to people. We don't really know if that part is true. Yeah, he wasn't right. We had some very alarmed texts in the Play Tessie group chat. Like, was that a 94 mile-an-hour fastball from Aroldis Chapman? Normally 94, like that's fine. That's not bad. But for Chapman, that's your bread and butter, buddy. We need 100 out there. So a scary moment. It seems like it's not a huge deal. I hope Cora gives him a couple days off. The Red Sox will have to win without Chapman for a bit. But overall, as a Red Sox fan, a professional Red Sox fan, I feel good. I feel still firmly in the spot that they should be buying at the deadline. I don't want them to go nuts. Still not there, but I want them to add. I want them to make the playoffs, and that's what I expect.
Yeah, I mean, huge series. I think the biggest thing too is it's encouraging because it's not like the Dodgers didn't play like the Dodgers. Like they didn't throw games away. They didn't. There was no uncharacteristic losses on the Dodgers' part. The Red Sox were just a better team than the Dodgers this weekend, and that was refreshing, especially considering they lost 2 out of 3 of the 2 series before. And like you guys have alluded to, Mookie's back in town. Shohei's here. Big weekend series, like everything, and they come out the other end. They look really good. I said, and I've been saying for I believe like probably 30 full days. I said I would give my judgment on if I am in or out on this team at the end of the Dodgers series. That being said, I'm in, but I do not think they are currently a playoff team with this roster. And I'm not saying like they need a Joe Ryan, they need a Yandy Diaz. What the fuck? All I'm saying.
I didn't push that one. That wasn't me.
So, as constructed, I do not think they're a playoff team. That being said, even with marginal upgrades, they're a playoff team. Like, if you can get one of Buehler or Fitz out of the rotation, you shore up one more bullpen arm, and you improve the first base platoon even a little bit, playoff team. And that's all I'm saying.
I don't think you're wrong. I think that the roster that they have right now is capable. I'm not saying they would certainly make the playoffs, but they are capable, even if they got nothing, of making the playoffs because of what they've shown us. That said, like that's not a conversation that we should have to have. I understand why it creeps into your head because of what has happened the last 22, 23, 24, so 3 straight years. Although last year, I mean, at the deadline, they did try to do things. They just all failed miserably. But the 2 years before, really not that much. And the year before was really a buy sell. So I understand why your head goes there. But to me, something about the mentality of this group, because if you guys remember the beginning of game 2, those 2 home runs in the first inning, Dodgers fans were fucking loud at Fenway Park. And then Bregman comes up in the bottom of the first and gets booed loudly at Fenway Park, his home ballpark. It was shocking. It was shocking to be there, to hear him get booed. And for them to come back and win that game. Like, that's not something I take lightly. And not to mention, you got Mookie Betts in the batter's box as the tying run for the final out of the game. And your closer, Aroldis Chapman, pumps it right by him. High 90s fastball right by him down the middle. Full confidence, he takes it, and you walk home with a win. I think games like that against teams like this that can come in and intimidate you, like they did 2 years ago when the Dodgers, like, people forget the Red Sox were kind of on the brink of, they might be Dunsky, but if they can get through this Dodgers series 2 years ago when they came to Fenway Park and Mookie returned. But they didn't. They stunk. And that was that. Like, Mookie coming back to Fenway Park, it killed the vibes. It killed everything. This year it didn't.
That sucked, dude. All these Red Sox fans, I don't like cheering Mookie at Fenway. First at bat, sure. Cheer for him. It's his first time back. Cheer for him. But they were like cheering him, Red Sox fans, the entire series. I hated that. That was like the weakest showing from Red Sox fans in a long, long time. Hated that. And I hated all the posts like, look at all the friggin' Dodgers, blah, blah, blah. No, not a fan of that. I hated that. They had that fan group where they got a schedule like that. So just dorky.
It almost felt like it was like, yes, they're cheering Mookie Betts, but it almost felt like the cheering of Mookie Betts was more like a fuck you to ownership and to management for trading him. Like, they were aggressive. It was aggressive.
Yeah, kind of. But like we had all winter to do that, and in a year prior, like, I don't know. I don't ever like cheering for the other team at Fenway, other than like the first at bat back for like a guy who was great on your team. Yada yada yada. I just don't. I never want to be cheering for the other team at Fenway. I don't think I ever have. But yeah, it's that series made me nauseous and angry, and didn't like it. I
will say, I agree. I'm not a big fan of cheering for the other team, but I did appreciate the fact that Red Sox fans gave Kershaw a hand on his way out. That's a little bit different, right? Like,
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, you're tipping
That's
the
different.
cap to a Hall of Famer on his way out. That's different. They weren't like every time he struck out a Red Sox batter, Red Sox fans were going, "Ooh, let's go, Kershaw! You're so
Wait.
cool."
Pat, I have a question for you because Sammy, you've got a few more pitchers in your lifetime to think through. So this is a Pat question for the younger generation. Is Clayton Kershaw the best pitcher of our lifetime? Because to me, I think he is. And it's really, what is it, him, Verlander, Scherzer?
You just loop yourself in with Pat Gordo age-wise. You're way closer to my age than Pat's.
No,
you're 1 year younger than me.
You're in your 70s. Come on, get out of here.
Take off your hat, bro.
And I don't count, like, it's tough to count, like, Pedro and Clemens, because, yes, I remember watching them pitch, but so much of their dominance was before my baseball memory started. Whereas Kershaw, I saw it start to finish.
Yeah, I would say it's probably goes Kershaw, then Scherzer, then Verlander.
Are those are kind of the premier three, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's say starting in
Felix? Like
I love that you said that, Sammy. King Felix doesn't get enough respect.
Felix, yeah.
Yeah, like his peak was so high, he just didn't do it long enough. That's like my one thing with King Felix,
that's
where
why he's not getting the Hall of Fame love.
Scherzer did it 2 places the exact same. Verlander did it forever.
Yeah.
Kershaw's done it forever. Like Felix had a great peak, but I think those 3 are kind of like that S tier, and then Felix is that A tier.
One more.
Yep.
CC Sabathia. Gotta include him.
He's in the Felix. I think no, he's
kidding
in the Felix.
me. CC?
I think Johan Santana, even though Johan got below the 5% on the Hall of Fame. I take him over CC.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Oh, Johan? Oh.
I think CC is very he's a counting stat guy. He
okay, but that's important as a start.
Seasons.
Dude, CC has about 200 more games than Santana. There is no way
wonderful.
You're convincing me. That's important.
It is important. And I value the peak. Like, I think that the fact that Felix Hernandez didn't get in year 1 and CC did, like, I get it. CC's got the wins, he's got the Ks, because he played for a long time. But
yeah,
I
will
like
say
to value peaks. Like,
prime Johan was close to like Pedro Martinez territory. He was
CC had one insane year.
No. I said prime Johan.
Oh, prime Johan. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Johan was a freak.
All right. We got to get to trade deadline stuff. And I feel like the first thing we should get into here, because we talked about it a little bit in the group chat. I feel like we were really good because we hesitated on fully discussing it because we definitely needed to have that discussion on the podcast. But the Yandy Diaz thing, Ken Rosenthal reported on it. Well, he's been reporting on it for a while. Like, first, it was like about a week ago. Chris Cotillo said in his article, yeah, the Red Sox would really love to get Yandy Diaz. And then the very next day, Ken Rosenthal kind of craps all over it and says, yeah, the Rays they're not trading Yandy Diaz. They are far too appreciative of players who let them keep their money in their pockets and sign these nice team-friendly extensions. And he reported that a few different times, but then on Saturday, he said something along the lines of the Rays are softening their stance and would consider a deal. And then the quote here on the Red Sox was, if they indeed become willing to move him, the Boston Red Sox will almost certainly be at the top of the list of teams interested. And then Buster Olney kind of said the same thing. He listed him perfect fit for the Red Sox and said all that. And he said on, I think it was 3:10 to left on Friday, that execs believe the Red Sox will add a first baseman. And I found it interesting that Josh Naylor, like, he got traded in the middle of our recording last podcast. And a day later, Alex Spear reported that, yeah, the Red Sox were kind of on the outside on this one. Like, yeah, they checked in, they did due diligence, but they didn't push. And to me, that kind of raised my alarm bells a little bit. I tweeted it out. It's like one of the there's really two top of the line. Like, we talked about it. It's Naylor and O'Hearn are the two rental first basemen kind of at the top of the market. And if the Red Sox didn't push on Naylor when they could use a first base upgrade, my question was why? And my thought at the time was, I thought, yeah, they might be wanting to go after a controllable first baseman, and maybe they don't want a rental. Otherwise, why would they be on the outside with Naylor? And my mind at the time was kind of pointed towards Tyler Soderstrom. But now, with Ken Rosenthal reporting that they're softening their stance and could trade Yandy Diaz, and also saying that the Red Sox would be at the top of the list, To me, my alarm bells are blaring right now about this Yandy Diaz thing. You're getting Red Sox reporters saying that they're super interested. You're getting national reporters saying that they're super interested. You didn't have them going after Josh Naylor. There has been smoke on Ryan O'Hearn, but my alarm bells are going off on Yandy Diaz. And to me, he is the prototypical perfect middle of the order fit for this Red Sox team. I'm happy we're going to get to discuss this because I'm going to spoil it. Sammy is not as big of a fan of Yandy Diaz on this Red Sox team in this particular year as I am. Sammy, I think he's a perfect fit. I got to hear your reasoning as to why you don't think he is.
So it's not that I don't want the Red Sox to trade for Yandy. I think it'd be an upgrade for sure, offensively especially. Like he 128 OPS plus 820 OPS, 18 home runs, which is high for him. Good player, right? Like no denying that. It's more so I think there are better options in the long and short term. So with Yandy, if you're going to play him at first base because you're not playing him at third. Not anymore, at least. And he's a right-handed bat, just like Romy. I know he has reverse splits this year, but over his last 9 seasons, he has not been a reverse splits guy. So I would tend to think that's more of a fluke. So that the platoon at first base wouldn't work, which means that the platoon would then have to shift to second base, which sounds fine, right? Because Meyer, we don't know when he's going to be back. Didn't sound good based on what Cora said the other day. We'll get to that later in the show. But without Meyer, now your platoon at second base would be Romy and then Hamilton or Sogard. And Romy, he's been great this year. He's a terrible defensive second baseman, and Yandy is a terrible defensive first baseman. And all I can think of is the 2024 Yankees in the playoffs, just completely fumbling the ball around. And if the Red Sox entire right side of the infield is below the 25th percentile defensively, that makes me extremely, extremely nervous. And again, Yandy is a big upgrade offensively. It's just the defense is what it would do to the defense, not just his defense, what it would do to the defense overall. That scares me. On top of that, he's also on the roster in 2026. I don't really want a first baseman with team control. This feels like you're fixing one problem in 2020. Listen. You're fixing a problem in 2025, and then you're creating another logjam in 2026. What do you do with Christian Campbell? What do you do with Tristan Casas? It's like, I'd rather the Red Sox keep their options open. You know, it just feels like creating another issue for a very nice short-term offensive fix that could plummet your defense. And it also, I don't think it's the best fit. It's not a bad fit. It's just if you get Ryan O'Hearn, I think it makes so much more sense. You can just stick a defender at second base. Sogard and Hamilton just take the hit offensively, have them hit ninth, whatever.
Let me ask you, okay, that was going to be my question. So what you want them to do is to get Ryan O'Hearn to platoon at first base with Romy Gonzalez, and then your second baseman full-time is David Hamilton?
For 2 months, yeah. David Hamilton, Sogard, you have Eaton can mix in. Sedon's been fine there. If you want to keep him there, if the offense is clicking with him at second, you can go that way. I just can't do the bad defense. It's what's torched all the Red Sox teams the last 3 seasons. Can't do it.
I want to give my argument for Yandy Diaz, and I'm glad Pat hasn't spoken yet because Pat is usually the voice of reason. Yandy Diaz, since June 1st, he's hitting .343 with a .978 OPS. He's finally tapping into home run power, which has been kind of the thing that's held him back from being like a superstar, one of the premier hitters in the game, because the dude has smoked the ball for years. He just hits it on the ground. But this year, expected batting average, 95th percentile, average exit velo, 94th percentile, hard hit percentage, 94th percentile, whiff rate, 85th percentile, chase rate, 65th percentile, K rate, 87th percentile. And every single year, he's striking out between 10 and 15%. He does not strike out, which, as we've seen, when this lineup struggles, it's because they strike out. Obviously, yes, the knock, he doesn't hit the ball in the air enough, but lately he has. Meanwhile, I'll compare it to O'Hearn, and this is with the caveat that I would be totally fine with a Ryan O'Hearn addition because he raises the ceiling over what you have right now with Abraham Torre at first base against right-handed pitching. But since June 1st, I gave you .343 with a .978 OPS for Yandy. O'Hearn is at .215 with a .649 OPS. So you're investing in a guy who is been good for a long time, whereas O'Hearn, this is kind of his big breakout year, but really it was a breakout April and May, and the last 2 months just haven't been that. What I would do fit-wise is Yandy Diaz is your full-time first baseman. Obviously, he's hitting in the middle of the order against lefties and righties. Your second base platoon, Romy plays it against lefties. Against righties, Sadon plays second base. It's unfortunate. Like, I don't want to see him playing second base either, but it's important to get all those guys in the game. Like, I want to see Sadon playing center field, but if all of the outfielders are on the roster after the deadline, like you can't bench one of the outfielders for the sake of having Sadon in center.
There's going to be an issue no matter what. Like, if you don't get Yandy, you have to go with the defense at second, which means you go with a bad bat. If you do get Yandy, and then you either have Sadon in there or you have Romy, who's just a complete clunker at second base, that's not great.
But how much of that is because he's been playing first base? Like, I get his metrics at second base are not good, but they when he was with the White Sox, his metrics at second were fine.
I just don't. I don't have much faith in him being able to like figure out second base like on the fly. I mean, maybe. I just
never felt like a problem when he's there. Like, he made a great play in this series at second base.
He's -3 DRS at second base in only 89 innings.
But again, he worked all spring training at first base. He's barely touched the position.
Yeah, but so what? I mean, that's not good.
I mean, you do it to get Yandy Diaz's bat in the lineup. I want to get Pat's thought. I want to get Pat's thoughts on this. Pat, you who says no Yandy Diaz to the Red Sox in the past. So yeah. I feel like you like Yandy Diaz, but that's just my guess because we haven't heard from you on this.
I do. I like Yandy now, and I like him on the roster for the years following. The reason I say that is because obviously this year you get the bat in there, which he slots in so nicely into the top 4 in that lineup. It's perfect. It's an overall offensive improvement at first base. You get the team control, which I think is great because who knows what the fuck Tristan Casas is going to look like when he comes back. Who knows if Campbell even sticks at first base. The other thing, too, here is they're going to trade an outfielder this winter if they don't do it the next few days, which I don't think they will. So that opens up a pretty good spot in the lineup in terms of they can kind of rotate through that DH spot. Meaning Yandy can be the primary DH some days, and then he can play first on days where maybe Masataka Yoshida's the DH. And like what they're doing with the outfield now, they would just do with first base and DH. But the thing with that is it's much smoother because it's not Ceddanne Rafaela playing second base. It's just Masataka Yoshida sitting a day or Yandy Diaz playing first twice a week. Like I think the fit is much cleaner than it like looks on paper, especially considering like the domino moves that are going to happen this winter. That being said, yes, like I completely agree with Sammy. There is a value to having the openness and the options to not have a guy that's locked up for you for I think it's 2 more years after this, right?
It's 1 year with a club option. The club option actually makes it a little bit.
No, the club option. It's this year, and then there's a club option for next year.
No, Sox payroll.
No. 2026
just clarified.
2026.
If he said that, I think he's wrong. I was looking at it today.
He just corrected the national media. 2026, he's under contract for $12 million. 2027, club option $10 million. That becomes 13 if he has 500 plate appearances or more. If he had a player option for next year, or club option, I'd be all in on this. It's just like I fear the log jam and I fear the defense. What's the
condition? Spotrac has a conditional option for 27. Maybe that's why Reference didn't have it. Salary vests with 500 plate appearances in 2026. So if he plays in 2026, then there will be a vesting club option for 27. It looks like.
Vesting, or is it?
Here's the quote from Spotrac. It says Tampa Bay picked up 2026 club option and added conditional club option for 2027 as part of the extension. 2027 club option has no buyout. 2027 salary vests at $13 million with 500 plate appearances in 2026.
So it's a vesting option.
So if he makes 500 plate appearances, then it's gonna. Oh God, yeah. It's not the biggest. I don't want people to think I don't want the Red Sox to trade for Yandy. Like it would be an upgrade. It's just I have concerns. I have concerns about the defense. I have concerns about the contract. Like,
wait, let me ask you, Sammy. If you had to tell us what your bigger concern is, the defense short term or the long term kind of figure, because I agree with Pat. and that's kind of what was in Cotillo's article, which I think even as a huge Tristan Casas supporter, like I don't think you can necessarily count on Tristan Casas to come back, be able to play full-time first base and be able to do it well. Having a guy like Yandy Diaz able to play first base or DH, you get Casas in camp competing with Yoshida, or if you trade Yoshida, then he competes with someone else for DH reps. And
what do you do with Campbell, though? What do you do with Campbell?
He's my second baseman, and Marcel is my shortstop, and you trade Trevor Story.
No, I can't do Campbell.
I believe in Christian Campbell. I believe in
not at second. I believe in him as a
athlete.
First baseman or left fielder, not as second base. That was hellacious to watch.
I think if he works at it for a full offseason, which they probably won't let him do, and they're probably going to tell him to work on everything. But if they let him concentrate on second base, he's a good enough athlete where he could get by. I'm not going to tell you he's going to be great, but I think he could. I
don't think so. Do you think he'd be an average second baseman, like zero DRS?
Not right away. I think he for at least a few years he would be below average, and maybe at some point he could get to that point.
I just think he's too big. He doesn't look like a second base. He's huge. The guy's huge. It's
not a perfect fit. I agree, Sammy. He would be better at those two positions, but I think you get more offense in your lineup if he can figure out how to make it work at second, which I think he's athletic enough to do.
Fair. Can't you see the issues like cropping up though? Like where does this guy go? What happens with Casas? What happens with Yoshida? By the way, Yoshida makes everything so much harder. All these conversations, if you don't have Yoshida, and I'm so sick of saying negative things.
Him, 2 years is a hell of a lot easier to deal than 3.
I know, but what if we're having the same conversation next year? You're going 1 year? That's way easier to trade than
we could be. We could be.
I hope so. I hope you're right. And I'm sick and tired of saying negative things about Yoshida because I feel like the Debbie Downer at the party. Everyone loves Yoshida. Not us, but the fan base in general loves Yoshida. He's funny. He's got aura. Look how he runs. And I'm like, get this fucking guy out of here. It just makes everything so much harder. And I'd be so much more into the Yandy idea without Yoshida. It just makes the fit a little bit better. It doesn't help with the defense, but it makes the fit easier.
Well, Sammy, here's another thing. Very well documented. The Red Sox traded Rafael Devers and didn't have to eat a penny of his salary, though they took on Jordan Hicks, but they didn't have to eat a penny of Devers' salary. Maybe they could just DFA Yoshida if he keeps playing like this. If he keeps playing like this, yes, you're not able to trade him. If he plays like this the rest of the year, and if his OPS is below 650 this year, you have to DFA. I think he's going to be better than this. But if it doesn't get better, you could DFA it.
I'd be cool with DFAing him even if he hits better. I've been saying this for a year now. Like, he just doesn't fit. He doesn't fit. It's like he can't play the field. And when he does, it's terrifying. The bat is not close to good enough, at least right now, to warrant a DH spot every day. That's where I would play him, though, because that's the best option. It's just there's no win with this guy.
Let me ask you a question. What would your thoughts be if you've got Yandy Diaz as your first base? We're going to spring training next year, 2026. Yandy Diaz is your first baseman, and for DH reps, you've got a competition between Casas and Yoshida. And if Yoshida wins the competition, he plays well. He's in spring training. He's hitting the ball, hits 350 in spring training. Casas gets on his feet in AAA and works his way up. And once he starts playing well, obviously there's going to be an opportunity, as there always is. And if he doesn't play well in spring training, you DFA. Casas wins the job. There's no issue with that to me. If he plays well, you keep him. If he doesn't, you don't.
I don't love that. You're pitting a guy who you think is a pillar of the future coming into 2025 in Casas, who got hurt.
Who may not
pitting
be
him against, right? But you're pitting him against like a early 30s platoonish DH guy, and you're saying like this is who you're competing against. And then what happens if Yoshida wins? You just get rid of Casas? Like,
no, he's in AAA. He has options. Sammy, the thing is, and Pat,
it's doable.
you can back me up here with the patellar tendon injury. Like, there's no guarantees with Tristan Casas. Like, you can't go into next year and say this guy is going to have full-time reps at first base or even DH. Like, they have to have options.
Dude, if he came back, and this is just like, this has nothing, there's no correlation here, and I don't think it's going to happen, but if he came back and did like what Ryan Howard did after he tore his Achilles, would that surprise anyone?
No.
Is that the Ryan Howard fall off? Is that why he sucked? He tore his Achilles and then never came back strong? That's what it was?
Yeah.
Huh.
Lost a ton of weight. He looks good nowadays. He was doing TV, All-Star game. Good for him. But that's kind of my point, Gordo, is why would I don't want to lock, if I'm the Red Sox, I don't want to lock myself into Yandy. Nothing against Yandy. It's just the roster. I'd rather get a rental, wait the winter out, see how Costas is doing. And if it's an issue, okay, you have all winter long to find a replacement. Give Costas 2-3 months. Is he on? Is he progressing like you think he should? Fantastic. Okay, we can go with maybe try him out at first base if he's not looking good. I mean, I think he'll be good if he's healthy. I think he'll be fine. We're Costas believers, but I just don't like the idea of locking yourself into Yandy, who's I think 21st percentile defense, when you already have Yoshida and then you have Romy, who's been your platoon, your strong side platoon all year long, and he's been great. Weak side, excuse me. It's not bad. I'm not saying if the Red Sox get Yandy, I'll be pissed. This is a bad acquisition. Definitely makes the team better. It'll be super exciting. It's just not the way I'd go. I'd go with Ryan O'Hearn instead. I think that's the move. Yeah, and you know what sucks is the Red Sox can't really go, why don't we upgrade second base instead and just stick with the platoon, because there are almost zero second basemen on the market. It's Willie Castro, and
if you want a bottom 5 hitter in baseball this year, you could get Luis Rengifo. He also can't play defense, if you like that. You liked him last year.
Brandon Lowe.
Oh, true. He's on the IL, right? But yeah,
he's always hurt though. But that's another clunker defensively.
But here's the issue: is you can't. Yes. The Red Sox can't be trading for a controllable second baseman.
No.
Yeah, no. Like you need if they're going to get anyone, it has to be like a Willie Castro stopgap.
That's why I'm saying it's not the worst thing in the world if you have Hamilton and Sogard just playing really good defense and hitting at the bottom of your order. If the rest of the lineup hits, I don't want it either. It's not.
I would rather play Cedon and play all the outfielders.
But that's fine. I don't think
you can do that as well.
I don't think this lineup is good to supplement Hamilton and Sogard in the lineup. I just don't think it's possible.
If you did that, Gordo, just for the remainder of this season, and you had Rafaela at second versus lefties and Hamilton inverse righties, and then you have O'Hearn at first base and Romy platooning, I don't think that's terrible. At least you don't have terrible defense at second base, and you could kind of piece it together. As much as I hate Rafaela anywhere but center field, I still think I'd prefer that over Yandy.
Okay, let's talk cost, because we've talked about what we think Ryan O'Hearn would cost. Like we think it's maybe a couple of lower, like I don't know, maybe your 15th ranked prospect and like a closer to 30th ranked. It's not going to cost a ton. Yandy Diaz is going to cost a pretty penny, especially. I mean, man, I thought it was going to cost a little bit when I thought it was a year and a half. Sammy, you talked about not wanting to be tied up with Yandy. To me, I want to be tied up with Yandy. He's cost controlled and he's a really, really good hitter. Like,
I wish Pat was here. I wish Pat was here to hear that. You want to be tied up with Yandy? You freak.
All right.
Where's Pat? I need Pat to get back in here.
Pat, I didn't say anything. He can't hear it. He's gone. And Joe, you're not allowed to let him back in. Keep him out.
Pat went to go refill his water at the worst time ever.
Joe, Joe needs to kick Sammy out so I can just do the rest of the podcast by myself and not be embarrassed that I just said that. But yeah, I want to be tied up in Yandy Diaz for the rest of my life. I do. You can tie me down, tie me up, and tie me down.
Oh my God!
You are a sick man, Gordo.
Pat, wait.
No. Wait. I just heard that Yandy is Gordo's Dominatrix. Is that what I just
said?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
He can. Yeah, he can do whatever he wants.
Okay. Yeah, we get it.
All right. So what'll it cost? What am I gonna have to pay to have Yandy do all those things to me?
Oh God.
Because I think it starts with the password to me.
Yeah.
Let me ask Pat. Pat, would you trade password and not like another big prospect, but another prospect for Yandy? Would you do that? Yeah. Ooh, who says no? Password and Jetixon Paez.
So my thing is in a vacuum. Yeah. Where it gets tricky is I think password's not a blue chip, but like a meaningful piece in a starting pitcher trade. So are you willing to kind of give up on that for Yandy? It's tough. I probably still would, but it's tough.
Yeah, I don't think I'd do that. This is a guy who's probably going to be like a good hitter, but he's like a 2.5 WAR guy. He's going to be 34 next year. Who knows when the when the fall off will start. You're kind of in that territory where you got your eyes peeled for that, but it doesn't really look like he's even close because he's on fire right now. And I don't know if I believe in the home run uptick. It's kind of fluky. He's only done this once in his 9-year career, had that 20 home run mark. So, and he's not there yet. We'll see. Maybe he doesn't hit 2 more home runs for the rest of the year. Who knows? But no, I don't think I would do password for Yandy. I just little too much.
It's interesting. We should. I know it's not a who says no episode, but maybe we put up that graphic tomorrow.
Also,
I think that. I would make it, but it's uncomfortable. I think
password is probably going to be part of a bigger trade in the future, and I kind of don't want to lose that bullet yet.
That's a good point. Someone made that point to me in my replies. Said, yeah, like in a vacuum, sure, but that kind of hurts your ability to go get that number 2 starter in the offseason. And that's not wrong at all. But to me, I still think your path to the number 2 starter is centered around your current outfield. Like Duran, and obviously you're going to have to give more. And if you're not giving password, it's going to have to come from somewhere else in your farm. But our who says no's, like for Gore and for Ryan, it was Duran and Tolley. Like
for me, it was Abreu and Tolley, even more.
Abreu and Tolley. So yeah, same thing in the sense that it's not like password was a huge centerpiece in those deals. Like you can still do it, and yes, you're now taking away from your farm even more.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
password has to make it to the majors next year somewhere. Like he can't just be in AAA all year next year.
I just don't know how other teams view password. He's tough because I don't know if he's one of those guys that we see with rose-colored glasses because he's got an incredible nickname. 2, he looks cool with the hair, and he's a home run guy, so you get crazy highlights. But this guy, he strikes out a lot in the minors. He chases, he whiffs. So he's a good prospect. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know how highly regarded he is by other teams. That said, for some reason, I could totally see him on the Rays. I don't know what it is, but I could see password with the long hair, and they'd have him play. I bet they'd put him at third base, and we'd be like, what the fuck? Why is he at third base? It makes no sense. And then he's sick at it. We're like, God, I hate the Rays.
They would happen to something stupid with him. I agree. Something we don't know.
The scary thing, too, is if it's not password, like, I can already see us trading, like, Connolly early to the Rays and him just being a fucking stud. Like that's just, whoever we trade to them is going to be good. So just prepare yourself now.
Jeffrey Springs.
Yeah.
That's Joe's guy. Joe loves what's his name? Friggin' Rays guy that you just mentioned.
Jeffrey Springs.
Early. Sorry, I mean Red Sox early. That's Joe's guy.
Early.
Yeah, Joe loves Conley Early.
Conley Early guy. Shout out Brian Abraham. Basically told us on Baseball's Boring on the radio that he's getting promoted soon. So he deserves it. We do need to cover some other things. Yandy Diaz, obviously the most pressing rumor, and I'm sure by the time we jump back on the pod on Tuesday night to drop Wednesday, there's going to be a whole new big pressing rumor that we're going to talk about for 30 minutes. But I do want to talk about this Cease Duran thing. Okay, so basically, we talked about it the night before the report came out. We talked about whether we would do a trade centered around Dylan Cease and Ethan Salas for Jarren Duran. And then the literal next morning, Sean McAdam dropped the report that the Padres offered Dylan Cease, Ethan Salas, and another prospect for Jarren Duran. And I know that there was a report in the Globe that wasn't true, but that got deleted from the article. So it seems as if the report of that offer is what happened. That offer happened. And the Red Sox turned it down. And
quickly.
Yeah, quickly turned it down. That is an interesting. That is a notable detail there. I'm curious because, like, my thought on it is I'm not upset that they turned it down, especially after the Meyer injury. But it's so much context is needed before I can make a real opinion on this. Like, if they're getting offers of this caliber left and right, and like and you think those offers are going to be there in the offseason, because at this point it is much more difficult to trade an outfielder because then you lose Cedon at second. Which I get it. We all want to play Cedon in center field, but you also want to have your best 9 hitters in the order. And second base is a whole big mystery if you trade an outfielder. So if they're getting offers like this, and this isn't some offer that's like 10 steps above the other offers they're getting, I don't mind that they turned it down. And Jarren Duran is playing better right now, and hopefully he can carry that to the end of the season and build his value back to maybe where it was at before the season. But there were some people who were, oh my God, because I think his value was a big mystery up until this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my initial response was, that's a pretty good offer. I would think about it, probably hold off and see if anything better pops up. But if that's the best offer, then you should take it, assuming that the extra prospect in that deal is someone decent. But then the more I think about it, the more I sit on that offer, I think I'd rather just hang on to Duran. And Gordo, I saw you correcting some people. That trade offer, it's not about Cease. That's about Ethan Salas. Ethan Salas is the big piece coming back. Dylan Cease is the big name, but he's a free agent in 2 months. Ethan Salas is a kid who, when he was 17, was in the top 100s, kind of high up on that list too. So a kid that a lot of people were super high on. Now he's 19. He's got back issues, and he really has not hit at all as a professional. Again, 19, so you never know. I saw people being like, that kid sucks. What are you talking about? Relax. He's literally a teenager playing against professionals. So I think he'll go on to have a good career. It's just for a trade of this magnitude, a guy like that being the centerpiece with all the red flags and all, I can't pull the trigger on that one. And like I said, the more I think about it, the less appealing it sounds. So I think Breslow to turn it down quickly, regardless of the speed of which he turned it down, I think that's the right move. It does kind of, Gordo, you alluded to this, it does make my ears perk up in terms of there are competitive offers for Duran. I think whether you like this Padres offer or not, it's at least fairly competitive. So I would wait it out. I don't think now with all the injuries and stuff, I don't think it's the worst thing ever if the Red Sox keep Jarren Duran. A few weeks ago, I would have said, you got to move him. It doesn't make any sense. But now with the roster shaking up a little weird, you can stomach it. So I pass on that trade, but a good sign to see that teams are interested.
By the way, Pat, I got to get your point, but the reason we keep changing our tune a little bit, because like Marcelo Meyer, it was announced he has a wrist sprain, and if you just are seeing it on the surface, it's like, well, he could be back soon. He's seeing specialists, and Cora said he's not going to be back anytime soon, and they don't say these things about guys that have even a chance to return anytime soon. So we're basically operating as if Marcelo Meyer's not going to be here. But Pat, I got to get your take on the trade. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so one thing I do want to note, and Sammy kind of alluded to it. So last year, as an 18-year-old, Ethan Salas was as high as number 8 on MLB Pipeline. He's now 19, and he's fallen to 20. So he's regressing prospect-wise as a 19-year-old. So on paper, you see the name Salas, and you see Cease, and you think it's insane that they turned it down. And then you actually look that Ethan Salas has played 10 games this year. He's a 19-year-old who's progressively hit worse each of the past 2 years. Riddled with injuries. Cease is obviously a rental. And if they're offering that, whatever, 10 days out from the deadline, what does that Hail Mary offer? Like that final one that gets sent over?
LDV.
Does that have Estrada in it? Does that have LDV in it? If they're not turning it down as we're hanging up the phone, do not call again, blah, blah, blah. That's that's what you're offering now. Well, we don't like Salas, so no. But that communication has been said. I will be curious to see if there's and it's AJ Preller. There's going to be some Hail Mary package that is thrown out there an hour before the deadline. Whether it's accepted, who knows? But that will not be the best package they get from San Diego. I would almost guarantee you that.
Pat, that's a great point. I failed to mention that another reason I would love the Red Sox to wait is because of the name you just mentioned, LDV, and apologies if I mispronounce this, Leo DeVry, I believe is how it's pronounced. Anyone know?
Pat says yes.
Yeah.
I still haven't looked up the video pronunciation because I haven't.
Yes.
It's Leo and then DE space VRIES. Yeah. DeVry. But anyway, he's a shortstop. He's 18 years old. He's the number 3 prospect in the world right now. So probably unlikely you get him for Jarren Duran, but AJ Preller, like Pat said, kind of a crazy GM. And maybe if he thinks, we don't make the playoffs and go deep, is my job in jeopardy? I'm not really known for rebuilding teams. I'm more of a go for it kind of guy. Do I really care if we have LDV on the roster? I might be gone before he's even in Major League Baseball. I got to pull the trigger and make my major league team better right now. If you get that guy offered to you, I know Red Sox fans aren't going to like it because it's Duran for a prospect. But if the Red Sox have that kid, LDV, that is the headliner main chip in a trade for a guy like Mackenzie Gore or Joe Ryan or someone of that caliber. So that essentially, it's not the same as trading Duran for an ace, but it gets you way closer.
Well,
Would you do it straight
what-
up? Would you do it
One
straight
for
up
one?
if they said LDV for Duran? I would.
Oh, yeah, but I don't think the Padres would. I think if it was LDV for Duran, I think you'd have to throw in like someone. Like,
Oh, yeah, like a Fitz or
I'll
whatever.
tell you.
I was
I'll
going to
tell
say
you.
Fitz.
I wouldn't make that deal right now because this team deserves a chance to make a run. If you can find a way to center it so that it gets Dylan Cease back here too, and the Red Sox can give more, sure. But they cannot sell to this roster, hey, we just traded Jarren Duran for a prospect. You can't do it.
I think that's the one prospect I'd actually be okay with. Literally the only one, realistic one, that I would actually be okay with them just getting prospect. But actually, Gordo, that's a good point. If you could still get Cease in that deal, maybe you add
gotta get
Fitz.
creative.
Then it's even better.
The truth is, the one thing that we're not. You brought it up. One of you brought it up. I forget which one of you brought it up in the last point for Yandy. It's like if you use password for Yandy, you can't use it for the controllable starter. But it's even more prevalent here. If you use Jarren Duran and trade him for Dylan Cease, who is a rental, and you're gonna have to figure out that number 2 starter thing again next year. If you use it for Dylan Cease and Ethan Salas, or if you use it for LDV, now that chip is gone. You can't use it for an ace. LDV, if you get him in, you're still fine. But if you do it for Salas and Cease, and Salas continues to struggle and fall down those rankings, which I think it's a little premature. He got pushed so fast. The dude was like a 12-year-old in Double-A. Like, we got to pump the brakes on the Ethan Salas hate. But
every take on him,
it's a risk.
Every take on Salas, positive or negative, has been a little bit premature. Inherently, it will be because he's a teenager. But I think, and Gordo, I don't know if you were agreeing or disagreeing with this. I think LDV is a much bigger trade chip than Jarren Duran, and it also allows you to tap into non-contending teams because only a contender is going to really want Duran right now. If you get, because it's the middle of the season, they're not going to want to pay extra for the extra year of control. Maybe, but unlikely. With LDV, everyone's going to want that guy. He's a massive chip.
You're right. And you're right. It would give you flexibility to trade for teams who maybe aren't in a contending window because, yeah, he's a prospect. He can fit. And Duran, like a team like, let's say, the Nationals probably isn't going to want Jarren Duran. But to me, like, you can't get the Dylan Cease thing I suggested with LDV, like, it's probably impossible to put a package together that's going to get both of those guys. Like, you're probably going to have to, even if LDV were on the table, which he's probably not, and all reports have suggested to this point that he's not. But even if he were, you can't, in all likelihood, get that guy without having to sit down with your team and explain to them why you traded Jarren Duran and didn't get them big league help. Pat, go ahead.
No, I'm going to push back on that a little bit because I think you can sell Duran. And I think you can do that because if it's in a flurry of buys and you sell Duran, that's much more palatable. That is a much easier presentation to the team. If that's your one trade deadline move, yeah, like obviously that looks like shit. But if you flip Duran and you get, we'll just say LDV. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. LDV. But then you also get Yandy and like Merrill Kelly. That's buying.
Even better.
That's buying. You know what I mean?
Then you can move password. Then you can move password for like Merrill Kelly, and I won't even complain. I'd be like, okay, cool. You overpaid a little bit, but you got a starter. You're good in 2025, and you have LDV, so now you're going to get an ace for 2026. You're cooking. Go Sox. And get O'Hearn too, please.
You're not wrong on that, Pat. You're not wrong. That if you get it would be, but it would be really similar to the Wilyer Abreu deadline where they traded Vasquez and they got Wilyer Abreu, and the team was pissed that they traded Vasquez, even though, hey, we also upgraded or we got another catcher in Reese McGuire. And what?
Pass and bomb, but it's not a trade. Seth Lugo's extended.
I'm not going to play the breaking news song for that. Boo.
No.
Okay, no more Seth Lugo. But it's like the Red Sox added Eric Hosmer, they added Tommy Pham, they added Reese McGuire, but the team was pissed because you traded Vasquez. That's how that would come off to me, and I feel like it rubs me the wrong way. And to me, if you're trading a Jarren Duran, you have to be getting that starter back. Even and I think we can touch on this really quick before we get to enough said, because the Edward Cabrera thing came out today. Both Edward Cabrera from Ari Alexander, the Red Sox having interest there, and Sandy Alcantara with Sean McAdams saying the Red Sox have checked in there. I wouldn't want to see the Red Sox deal Jarren Duran for either of those guys. Obviously, Sandy's had a really rough year. Edward Cabrera, really high ceiling, but and has had a good year, but it's obviously has an injury history, and it is a short span of success. And are you really going to deal Duran for that? Are you sure enough about it? And even if it's not Duran, like you're investing in Edward as your number 2 starter there. I guess we should quickly touch on the Marlins thing, because now there's legitimate connections to both of those guys. I wouldn't, again, it's kind of like Sammy with Yandy, my thoughts here. It's like I wouldn't be upset if they got those guys. Obviously, like I've been an Edward guy since he was bad in the majors. But I get nervous about investing in Edward as a number 2 for the coming years. And with Sandy, I feel good about him being a number 2 in the future, but I don't think he can be the guy starting playoff games for you this year. I feel like you need an offseason with him. So I don't love either as a fit. Like, it's just, I feel like there's better I'd rather go rental and then make the big trade in the offseason.
Yeah. I view a pitching, quote unquote, logjam a lot more favorable than I do a hitting logjam. So obviously pitchers get hurt way more often. They're more volatile, I'd say. But, and I'm not viewing it the same way as you, Gordo. I'm looking at this like Edward Cabrera, big body, starting pitcher, a lot of upside, still young, 27 years old. Fastball shape is weird, but he's got good velocity. Off-speed stuff is sick. Lots to work with here. And then my view is, if you have Garrett Crochet, he's your ace. We know that for sure. He's really good. Not sure if you guys know that yet, but very good pitcher. Then you have Bayo, Fitz, Cabrera, all these young guys. Harrison, Tolley coming up. All you need is one of those guys to show themselves as a number 2 starter, and then you have 3, 4, 5. You have good depth at that point. You can add to that. You can get a veteran. It is. It's all
number 2 is hard. That's not easy.
But I think out of all those guys, Cabrera, Bayo, Tolley, Harrison, what are the odds that none of them become a number 2 starter? I would say very low. I think at least one of them.
We said Houck, Cutter, Bayo, Buehler. We said one of those guys will be a number 2.
Yeah, but those were like injured reclamation projects and Brian Bayo. And Cutter, I never really had Cutter in the number 2 combo. No offense to Cutter, but never really thought him. But the issue with Edward is what you said, Gordo. If you're looking at 2025, you don't really have a game 2 guy where you feel fantastic about it, unless Giolito bounces back. He's only had 2 not so good starts after a string of 8 really good ones. So I'm not pulling the plug on him being the game 2 guy. And I think that's not the worst thing in the world if you're throwing these young guys into these big games. Again, 2022 Celtics, I think that loss helped them win in 2024. Stuff like that. Young guys getting playoff experience in any sport is a good thing. So I agree with you, Gordo. You wouldn't really have a slam dunk game 2 starter after Crochet pitches game 1, should the Red Sox make the playoffs. But I think Edward helps them get there, and I think he has massive upside, a lot of team control, and he's a guy that you can bank on being a 3, at the very worst a 4, with the upside of a 2.
I would take Edward Cabrera, but I am fucking done with the I hope. If we can bank on the ceiling, if you're paying for anything more than the rental cost, you need a sure thing. You absolutely 100% need a sure thing, because you're at the point now where you need a number 2. Years prior, it was you need like a full rotation, like that was a thing. You need a number 2, and you need a guy who can step in tomorrow and be a number 2. And whether that's Merrill Kelly on a rental deal coming in and being your number 2, or it's this winter, you go out and you sign a Michael King, a Dylan Cease, you trade for Mackenzie Gore or Joe Ryan. You now need to pay for certainty. I like Edward Cabrera if we did not have Brian Bayo, Kyle Harrison, like all of the guys with the same kind of ceiling. That's my stance on that.
You put it really well. That's basically exactly where I'm at.
I think you guys are looking at it more like slots like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where I'm kind of looking at it as an amoeba
Sammy,
of
I get
guys
what you're
like,
saying,
you know.
But to me, it's like if you're trading legitimate prospect capital for Edward Cabrera, they're not about to do it again in the offseason for Joe Ryan. That's their big move.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're totally right. You're totally right. They would be They would be banking on. They'd basically be like, all right, Peyton Tolley, you're our big young pitching prospect. Then we have Harrison, Bayo, and Cabrera, all of whom have big upside and a lot of stuff to fill in the holes. And then you have the depth with Dobbins, Fitz, probably Giolito next year.
It's
probably
upside.
going to give
it's not this guy is a co-number one. This guy could be a co-number one.
give a 3-year extension to Walker Buehler. No. You're right. I just wanted to startle you guys. You're absolutely right. That would be the downside is you don't have a sure thing. You're just loaded with huge upside. And I feel like this is like pretty good upside to bet on. Like, I feel very good about Edward Cabrera's future. He's 27. He's been with the friggin' Marlins, who are like, I don't know if they're a good pitching team or a terrible pitching development team. Like, Robbie Snelling's like gone off the map. Haven't heard his name in a million years. The other kid, Meyer, haven't heard a thing about him. The other Meyer's hurt. They have 2 Meyer pitchers. Friggin' Yuri's probably gonna be fine, but it's
disgusting.
weird.
Yuri's good.
It's weird. I still think the best case scenario is Merrill Kelly, what Pat said. Get Merrill Kelly, have him pitch game 2, then you reevaluate in the offseason. You got all the options in the world.
Yeah. That's what I want to see. I just want to see them go towards the top of the rental market. It's obviously you're going to have to get uncomfortable paying a guy you probably don't want to pay for 2 months. It's going to suck. I get it. But you get that guy, you get to reevaluate in the offseason when prices for like a Joe Ryan or a Mackenzie Gore are a little bit more reasonable. Maybe you trade for Chris Bubich as at that point a rental, a 1-year guy. But in the offseason, your options are far greater. Whereas now it's like if you want to get that guy now, you kind of have to either pay a super, super steep price for a guy like Joe Ryan that you don't want to pay, or you have to get uncomfortable in the sense that you're banking on Edward Cabrera being that dude. And it's a scary prospect. There's a lot of upside. I agree, Sammy, like multiple guys with plenty of upside to be a number 2 or even better, but it's scary.
And they're gonna ask for Wilyer Abreu and probably too, by the way. So it's a lot.
All right. We should do some enough said before we get out of here. I'll go first on this one. Just a quick shout out to Christian Campbell, who got sent down and certainly struggled immediately for a good while. But stats over since July 19th, courtesy of Ian Kundle. By the way, he had another big pull side home run today for Christian Campbell. Looked exactly like the home runs he was hitting in AAA last year. But since July 19th and 31 plate appearances, he's hitting 407 with a slash line of 407, 484, 667, 13% walk rate, 23% K rate. Again, home runs, what is it, in back-to-back days? Or is there a third? No, Vaughn Grissom's the one with 3 straight. So shout out to Christian Campbell. He's doing great. And I remain excited about what he's going to do for the Red Sox in the near future. If not this year, then certainly starting next year.
Yeah, I got no time for people who are giving up on Christian Campbell.
Don't give up on KC.
Crazy. No, he's going to be great. Speaking of people I got no time for, I am so sick of having people respond to my tweets going, you could get a lot for Aroldis Chapman at the deadline. Stop. And I saw Webster, friend of the... Yeah. Friend of the program, Jack Webster, he had a great tweet saying that Red Sox fans should be concerned that their closer is hurt and when will he be back? They shouldn't be concerned, his trade value just went down. Like, what are we doing here? Do you hate baseball? Like, don't you, like, the last 2 years? Sure. I don't feel great about this team. They have a 5% chance to make the playoffs. Let's punt. That makes sense. This is not that team. I'm so sick of it. I can't believe people are still doing that. It's a lot of people too. It's not a small group. Just people like, what's his value on the market? It's high. You could get a ton for him, but I don't want to move him. It makes your team way, way worse. It makes your bullpen shorter, and you have to call up someone new. It makes Cora's job more difficult. You make Jordan Hicks your second most reliable guy until friggin' Slayton comes back. Whitlock can't really go multiple innings as smoothly now because now he's going to be stuck in the 9th inning. It's always going to have to be 8 and 9, or again, Hicks is closing for you. Not ideal, although of course, right, as we're talking about it today, that's what happened. But it's just not, it does not make sense to me that fans of the team, not the front office people, I get that, fans are asking about this guy being traded. Crazy to me.
It's not happening. Pat, you got enough said?
Yes. It's not that I don't want it. I guess I do not get the people who are like clamoring for the Sox to trade for Eugenio Suarez. It makes zero sense to me. Like, I get why you would want him on the Red Sox. He doesn't fit the team in any way, shape, or form. Like, I don't get it. And people are like freaking. I saw he played first base the other
I know
day.
you were about to say that, Sammy.
No, like I wouldn't even want to pay the price to get him. And it's not because he's a bad baseball player. He does not fit the team at all.
Also, like if you mentioned the price of what it would take to get him to people who want to jam him into first base for 2 months, I don't think they would be so hot on it. I think people just want to see them get the best players.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense, Pat. I agree.
All right. That's going to do it for episode, 243? 243 of Play Tessie. Aaron Judge is hurt. Make a run at this first wild card spot. Go listen to the previous episode on this feed if you want to hear a John Henry exclusive interview with our buddy Bradfo. It is 30 seconds of absolute glory, and you'll hear it like 10 times. So
It's amazing.
It's a legacy maker for Bradfo. It's a legacy maker for John Henry.
It's certainly one of the interviews that has happened.
Yes, it is. It's terrific. But before you go there, remember to hit that subscribe button before you leave. We appreciate you making it through this episode. We know the trade deadline season is super hectic, and we're going to be back with a fresh episode for you guys in a couple of days. But hit the subscribe button, rate 5 stars. Find us on WEI's YouTube channel. Subscribe to them. Man, I'm brain farting, man. 5 stars or thumbs up. That's it on YouTube. Thumbs up. And find us on socials at PlayTesty on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. For Sammy, for Pat, for Joe producing, it is Gordo for PlayTesty episode 243. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.